Jess, it's great seeing you. And I was trying to remember the last time we spoke was probably 2 years ago, CCMA's red carpet. And it was so funny because when we started talking, I don't know why, and you don't really notice this in our interview, my mind went blank because for a quick second I'm going, who am I talking to here? And then, of course, it clicked in. It was you because I think it just dawned on me like, wait a minute, when did she become a blonde?
I know that's what I did during the pandemic. Everyone was asking, and I was transitioning to a blonde.
I love that. But like I said, it just threw me. And I was just like, man, she could rob a bank and nobody would know it was her.
That it's actually kind of funny. There was a family event that happened in my hometown a few years ago, and someone I was standing right next to my mom, and someone said, "Oh, it's really too bad Jess couldn't come," and I was like, "Hi, I'm here."
Oh my God, you know what would have been great? If anyone was talking bad about you, you could have stood there, heard the whole thing, and then go, you realize it's me here, right?
Yeah, I should have provoked that. I should have been like, "Yeah, well, what do you think? What do you think about her?"
You know, I actually used to do that when I was in radio, and I would be in a cab, and somebody was listening to 680 News. I actually would go, "Oh, you listen to that station?" And the cab driver would say, "Yeah, yeah, I like listening to it." And I'd say, "What do you think of this person, this person?" And I'd go, "What do you think about that idiot Rudy?" And I wanted to wait to see the reaction, and thank goodness there was always good things. And then I would say at the end of the cab ride, just by the way, I'm the guy
I'm
that,
Rudy.
yeah. So just
Of course, it was always good things. My ego's too fragile. I don't think I can do
ah,
that.
no. How was the pandemic for you? I know it was tough on a lot of people. How was it for you personally and musically? How was it?
Musically, on me, it was really tough because I'm such a collaborator and I rely on so many energies. It sounds so woo woo, and I'm not really like that, but I really do rely on the energy of other people in the room. So the Zoom rights for me didn't really do it. I just was staring at these same four walls. So musically, it was really tough. I also missed my band. I missed playing shows. But personally, it was actually really good for me in a lot of ways, being able to spend time with my husband and my family, my dogs. Um, and I was kind of rested. There was a lot of good and a lot of bad.
It was funny. One of the things when I talked to people during the pandemic, a lot of artists were like what you just said.
Yeah.
That beginning, the rest period was nice because they weren't used to waking up in their own beds, cooking on their own stove, watching their own
Yeah.
TV or whatever. But then somewhere along the line, they started getting restless because this wasn't the pattern that they were used to. Was it kind of like with you?
Well, I think that what people don't really realize was that it wasn't as the first like I'll say few days was restful for me.
Yeah.
But after that, what people don't realize is that we had a ton of media. Like people just wanted to know what we were doing. They wanted to know, like it was crazy. Like I spent so much time doing interviews and learning about Zoom because Zoom wasn't a thing that we really did before the pandemic.
Hmm.
And I started a side venture business as well. Like I just so the first few days were restful, maybe even let's say the first week. But after that, I wasn't just sleeping in every day and, like whatever everyone thinks we were doing.
I love that, and you're right. I mean, one of the things is when you're in, especially in this business. One of the reasons why we're in this business is because we're very creative. It's in our blood. It doesn't matter what we're doing. We need to do something creative.
Hmm.
Some people can chill, some people can do things, whatever. But creativity in this business, we have to do this. So, was there something creative that you did that you never had a chance to do, and you were just like, I'm going to do it? Almost like learning a new craft.
Yes, and it's not music related necessarily. I started a side venture called Handpicked by Jess, which is something that I've wanted to do for years, but I didn't have the time, I didn't have the resources, I didn't have the team. But the pandemic did allow me to spend some time and really lay out what that format was going to work and look like. So, Handpicked by Jess is basically a curated box. It's kind of like a FabFitFun or a Jilly box. And the original reason that I really started it was to kind of help some of those local small businesses that were struggling to get their products into people's hands when their doors had to be closed. So I wanted to come up with a way that I could socially distance and send these products to people. So basically, it just included a few of my favorite products from a few of my favorite small brands, and we put it all together. And for a fraction of the price that you would pay for it regularly, we were able to ship it to people's homes. And most of the items in there were a surprise. So people are just blindly trusting my judgment.
We trust you. You see, you need to run for politics. You win.
Oh, God, no, never. I'll stick with the boxes.
Oh my goodness! Now, when things started opening up, what was it like going back on the road and doing shows? Even what was it even like the very first one?
I want to tell you that it was amazing and incredible, and I was excited, but that would be a half truth. I was excited to be able to see the boys again, see my band play shows, but it was weird. The shows were so small because they had to be socially distanced. Sometimes you're playing behind glass, which was really strange because you can only really see yourself, so you lose that connection with the crowd. You don't know if it's the right thing to be going out at that time because the world was changing so rapidly. It was weird. It was really, really hard because I didn't know. I thought, if this is how it's going to have to be forever, I don't know that I want to do it this way.
Yeah.
And a lot of virtual shows, again, with me feeling like I need the energy in the room. It was really hard. It was hard to go back.
I'm curious. Did you do any of the drive-ins? I know Brett did a lot of them. Did you do them? If you did, what was that like when? Now, later on, people were allowed to come out of their cars, but in the beginning, you had to stay in your vehicle.
It was cool. It was a cool concept. I was glad that I got to have that experience, but it was also weird. Again, you just are playing to people's cars. You don't know if there's one person in there or 12 or none. Like it was a little weird, but it was kind of in the same breath kind of cool.
Well, things have changed up because you are on tour.
I
Yay.
will be very shortly.
Okay, so let's talk about this. What is this tour going to be called, and how is this tour representing you now in your career and all the wonderful things that you've done musically and even personally for fans?
Yeah, so this is my very first headline tour. So I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to be really representative of who I am as a person and an artist because it's taken us such a long time to get to this point. But in the same breath, I think it's the perfect timing. So we chose to call it the Map Dot Tour. Yes, we're visiting some cities, but we're also visiting a few small cities and even a few small towns. So I thought that's the perfect way to represent this tour. It's the perfect way to represent me. And I am so excited. I leave tomorrow morning to start rehearsals, and then our first show is Tuesday in Ottawa. So it's been really great so far and such a learning curve in the best way. It feels good to just really play some small part in every single thing that happens. It's so great to just learn what goes on.
Now, of course, I'm speaking from Toronto. So, if I understand, there are two dates for the Danforth Music Hall here in Toronto. I remember when the only time you could have a country show, you had to be this massive name, and it had to be either down by, which is now known as the Budweiser Square, or it was at now known as Scotiabank Arena, or even back in the day, it was Maple Leaf Gardens. Now, country music in Toronto is so accepted to be able to
Yes.
play and sell out places like the Danforth Music Hall, which a lot of Canadian country artists have done, is amazing. And you do two dates? Bravo on that.
Thank you. Well, that one's a little bit of an anomaly. That one, as well as the London show, in the coolest way. Kip Moore has actually invited us to come and do a few dates with him. So we're doing those ones with Kip. They're the only 4 shows on the tour that Kip is going to be with us. So it's going to be super, super fun, and I cannot wait.
I was going to ask you, who's opening up for you in your shows?
Great question. I'm very excited. That was a really cool part. That was one of the things that I was looking forward to the most, was choosing my opener, because it's a way to give someone an opportunity and a platform and really stand behind them and their career. So I was like, it has to be someone I believe in, someone who's doing really well, someone whose work ethic is, the same as mine. So it made perfect sense to me to bring Tyler Joe Miller on the front end of all of these shows. Yeah, he's one of my favorite people and one of my favorite voices, so it was a no-brainer.
Tyler has torn it up for the last 3 years. Like, I don't know if people realize when it comes to awards, music, Spotify, and whatever else, if there's ever anybody who is leading the charge in Canadian country music, you got to be looking towards him.
So what you just said is crazy too. Think about it. The last 3 years. Yeah, exactly. What do you think that means? That means he has not had a chance to really tour or play shows, because he just started releasing music like during the pandemic. So yes, he's played a handful of shows, but like not a ton. So this is going to be really cool, and it makes it extra special that for my first headline tour, it's kind of Tyler's first tour period.
Thank God you are so damn good, because if you weren't, it'd be tough having to follow him. But
Oh, it is tough having to follow him. That's going to be the worst part of every night.
I got nothing to worry about there. But you know what? With a great tour, you're giving us also a gift. It's a new single that you have too, and a new video. For folks who don't know, what's the name of the new single and what's it about? And also, you got to describe the video too. Very cool.
Yeah, so the single is called Knockoff, and I wrote it with my producer, Corey Crowder, as well as one of my really dear friends, Jade Eagleson. And we really wanted to kind of go a different direction with this song, which is hard after releasing music for so many years. How do you write and record something that's authentic to me and who I am, but still sound like me, but different? It's a challenge. So we decided to kind of take the 90s country character, which is the music that I grew up listening to and loving, but haven't really had a chance to explore publicly like that. So yeah, and then the video, we wanted to do something as well, a little different. So we held Jess Moskaluke lookalike auditions, and that's kind of the whole premise of the video.
That's all we'll say. Want people to watch this, is what it's very, very cool. I'm just curious though. I mean, Canadian country music is such a blessing to our representation when it comes to Canadian music. But you have such a voice that can perform anything. And I don't know if it was just because
Thank
of the
you.
pandemic, and got a chance to rest, but your voice has even gotten bigger and purer. Is there ever a chance that you might decide to do a gospel album, or maybe even do a different type of genre, maybe like a soul album or something like that, just to challenge that voice of yours?
I don't know. I mean, thank you for saying that. That's really kind. I don't think that gospel or soul are things that are authentic to me. That's not the kind of stuff that I grew up listening to. It's not necessarily what I listen to now, although I do appreciate and respect it, as I do all kinds of music. But I think if I was ever going to do anything a little bit different, it would probably be in the pop world. And never say never. I've definitely written pop songs. I've definitely, towed the line between pop and country. And
Yes.
who knows what we might have up our sleeve in the future.
I cannot wait to hear it. So one more time, when does the tour start? And how do we get tickets for all of these shows?
Yeah, so the tour I leave tomorrow, but the tour starts officially on Tuesday night in Ottawa. You can get tickets at www.jessmoskaluke.com, and I recommend doing that right now because we are selling quite a few of these out already, and so there's limited tickets available in some spots. Yeah, starts on Tuesday and it goes right until the beginning of December.
One more question as we're wrapping this up. I mean, I can probably flip on the TV right now, and believe it or not, there are Christmas holiday commercials kicking in already. You go into the stores, you're seeing all the decorations up there next to the Halloween stuff. So, any plans on releasing any holiday songs? Should we be looking for past holiday songs from you? And also, are you even having a chance to think about the holidays yet?
Well, I am a Christmas music freak. I adore it. I am one of those weirdos that, I should have put my Christmas tree up before I left. But I did release a Christmas album called A Small Town Christmas just a few years back. So we're releasing songs from that to kind of get everybody through Christmas, because I won't exactly have time to hop in the studio anytime soon to do any new Christmas material. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at on the holiday stuff.
Okay, fantastic. Jess, thank you so much for the interview. Always great seeing you. Congrats on the tour. Congrats on who you snagged for your opening act. This is going to be a blaze of a tour, and cross fingers I get to run into you in person. Thank you again, and big love.
Thanks so much, Rudy. Nice to see you.